alleging a plot to oust President Cyril Ramaphosa. Well, the story, authored by Sunday Times journalist Qaanitah and her colleague, says former President Jacob Zuma held a clandestine meeting with top ANC officials, including the party's Secretary General, Ace Magashule, former Northwest Premier Supra Mahumapelo, and ANC Women's League Secretary General Meokgo Matuba, and Thanduxolo Sabelo, who is the ANC Youth League's secretary in KZN, at a top hotel. While the Sunday Times alleges the discussions at the meeting by those senior officials were about plotting to unseat President Cyril Ramaphosa, it says the discussions were also about a strategy that involves challenging the outcomes of last year's ANC National Conference, which elected Ramaphosa. Well, in a statement issued this afternoon, the ANC labelled the article as sensational hot air. And earlier, the ANC Chief Whip Jackson Mthembu was one of the first senior officials to respond to this, confirmed that he had tweeted that the allegations, if true, deserve urgent attention and undermine the newly formed unity. Well, joining us now from our studios in Durban is one of the people who's been implicated in that article by the Sunday Times. And of course, Thanduxolo Sabelo is the ANC Youth League Secretary in KZN. He joins us. A very good evening to you, Mr. Sabelo. I think let me cut straight to the chase here. Are you involved in a plot to unseat President Cyril Ramaphosa, as alleged by the Sunday Times?
Good evening, Griselda, and good evening to the viewers at home. I want to state categorically clear that I am not involved in any plot to oust the president of the ANC, Comrade Cyril Ramaphosa. I wish to also put it on record that I was not present in any meeting that discussed the plotting of the removal of the president of the ANC, nor am I aware, nor am I even willing to participate in such a plot. I have a very good working relation with the president of the ANC, and I see this article as an aim to try and weaken that kind of a relationship that myself in my personal capacity and the ANC Youth League in KwaZulu-Natal has with the president of the African National Congress.
According to the Sunday Times, Mr. Sabelo, you were spotted outside this Durban hotel where this meeting was alleged to have taken place. Do you agree with what the Sunday Times is saying? Were you spotted there? Did anyone speak to you about your presence at this venue where this meeting is alleged to have taken place?
You know, this is a very funny reporting from the journalist, because indeed I am a resident of Durban, and I was on the precinct of the hotel, not inside the hotel, speaking to the Secretary General, who was packing his bags, preparing to leave the hotel. And then a journalist from the Sunday Times came and he asked me, he asked the Secretary General a question first. Were you having a meeting with the former President of the Republic? And the Secretary General replied and said no. And he then asked me, were you part of a meeting? I said no, but you have seen me, I've just arrived here now. And I was not part of any meeting, so why do you ask me that question? Now they went on to write such a story, which I've clarified to that journalist, who walked in barely 2 minutes as I had jumped out of my car and was speaking to the Secretary General outside of the hotel. Now I'm a bit disturbed and I take real offense. That is why I have lodged a complaint with the press ombudsman, of which I have received a response via my email from the office of the press ombudsman, saying that they've received my complaint and will be investigating the matter.
Did you take the liberty of asking? Perhaps it would not be within your jurisdiction to do so, but of course what we do understand from that article as well is that it does not seem that on the diary of the Secretary General was he scheduled to be in Durban on that day, but instead in Bloemfontein. I don't want to get into the nitty-gritties of the diary of the Secretary General of your party, but did you spot him alongside anyone who's alleged to have been at this meeting to allegedly oust the president of the country?
Well, as you are correctly putting it, I'm not at liberty to answer where should the Secretary General of the ANC be? I was not even going to ask that because he is the Secretary General of the ANC and I'm not at liberty to speak on his behalf. What I am here to say and to confirm is that I was not part of the meeting, I'm not aware of the meeting, and I am not willing to be part of any plan to try and oust the president of the ANC.
These allegations, Mr. Sabelo, might not surprise some who've often accused you of being a Zuma loyalist. That's what they've referred to you as. If we look back to even before Nasrec, many would have argued, of course, that you never supported Cyril Ramaphosa to be the next president of the ANC. And in fact, you were amongst the first people to speak out and support Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma in the run-up to Nasrec.
No, most definitely, and I'm not going to deny that. In the lead to the Nasrec conference, I did not support the sitting president, Comrade Cyril Ramaphosa. I was one of the firm supporters of Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, who was a resolution of the African National Congress Youth League that we should support her to become the president of the ANC. But I grew up in an organization where we were taught that there is internal democracy. Once the internal democracy operates in a manner that in a build-up to a conference, you are allowed to lobby for your preferred candidate and you go to that conference and you go with your preferred candidate. But once the conference has elected someone who might have not have been your candidate, all of you embrace that leader who has been elected and you move forward and you support that leader and you in fact go to the society and explain that this is now the new leader of the ANC and he must be given support by all members of the ANC and society. And that is exactly what I've done. I know you might not be privy of this. In fact, I did it way early, even at the conference. When President Cyril Ramaphosa was announced as the president of the African National Congress, I'm one of those who went to the stage and I shook his hand and I said, you know, President, that I did not support you. But now you have been elected by the branches of the ANC. You are the will of the people. And from now on, moving forward, I will call you my president.
Sorry, Mr.
And I will
Sabelo.
give you all the necessary support.
Yes, sorry, Mr. Sabelo. I think the point that I was trying to get across is that you might find that some may think these allegations are unsurprising given the fact that you didn't support Cyril Ramaphosa initially. Just very quickly before I let you go, a tweet coming from the ANC Chief Whip, Jackson Mthembu.
Obviously.
Yeah,
okay.
A tweet coming from the ANC's Chief Whip, Jackson Mthembu, saying that these allegations need to be taken very seriously by the African National Congress. And secondly, an urgent NEC meeting would need to be called to discuss what seems to be what he says, if these allegations are true, a direct a ploy to basically dislodge the ANC and basically deal or unseat the president of the country, Cyril Ramaphosa. Would that be the call that the Youth League would want to make for an urgent meeting, of course, to be called to discuss these allegations?
No, I would definitely support an investigation into this matter. In fact, I am already asking for an investigation. The very fact that I've went to the press ombudsman and I've said I want my name cleared that I was not part of this meeting is indeed calling for an investigation. I would obviously agree with Comrade Jackson Mthembu that if there is such a plot to try and remove the president of the ANC, then that is a serious matter. But what I don't agree is to just agree with newspapers who obviously have always been working to try to divide the African National Congress. But I want to stick to my part that as Thanduxolo Sabelo, I was not present in a meeting that was planning to oust the president of the African National Congress. I view this as an attempt to try and disrupt the work that we are doing as the Youth League to try and unite the African National Congress, especially here in KwaZulu-Natal. It has been reported that it is a no-go area for President Cyril Ramaphosa and the leadership. And the Youth League has been working tirelessly inviting the leadership. I mean, yesterday we had invited President Cyril Ramaphosa to be part of our cake cutting ceremony in commemorating the 74th anniversary of the ANC Youth League. And President Cyril Ramaphosa attended that event and
also,
was a major success. Young people were so happy to
some could also argue, while you say that KZN is now an area for all ANC leaders to come and do their business, weren't you amongst some of the people as well who refused to attend some of the ANC meetings post the election of Cyril Ramaphosa in KwaZulu-Natal? So some would say perhaps the allegations that are being made by the Sunday Times would be given some...
Let me just quickly clarify that one. Let me just quickly clarify. It's not true. There's absolutely no way where you can find that I did not attend a meeting by the president of the ANC here. I'm part of the people who have been everywhere where the president of the ANC was. The Tumamina walks that the president was here twice already. I've been part of them. I was part of a program yesterday where the president was here. I've been part of programs where the president was meeting the structures of the ANC here in KwaZulu-Natal. So it's not true. It actually confirms exactly what I've been saying, that there is a concerted effort to try and divide the ANC Youth League of KwaZulu-Natal and the president of the ANC. I want to also mention that I released a statement earlier today.
That's right.
Distancing myself from a meeting. But someone somewhere edited the same statement and put it on social media that I have now accepted that I was part of the meeting, which exactly proves the allegations that there are people who are working really hard to try and portray me as part of a plot which I have no information about. So I want to also correct you. It's not true that I've not been part of meetings with the president. In fact, I have went ahead, and the president's office can confirm. I went ahead and invited the president to come and address events of the ANC Youth League. We are planning a rally where we are expecting not less than 20,000 young people in KwaZulu-Natal, where we believe the president will come and address those young people. We have accepted the president of the ANC, and we will work with him till the next general elections of the ANC, and we will ensure that President Cyril Ramaphosa is elected as the president of the republic as young people.
Thanduxolo Sabelo, who is the secretary of the ANC Youth League in KwaZulu-Natal, thank you very much for your time this evening, for agreeing to join us here on The Full View. He basically saying he would also, in accordance with what the ANC Chief Whip Jackson Mthembu had tweeted about and confirmed to the SABC, that he would want urgent attention by the ANC to be given to these allegations made in the Sunday Times to unseat President Cyril Ramaphosa.